Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of my how to play the Middle-earth strategy battle game based on these scenarios from the new 2-player starter set, the Battle of Osgiliath. This is the second one. After the Orcs crossed the Anduin, basically the Gondorian men were slaughtered, and the Rangers of Ithilian, led by Damrod, are going to attempt a counterattack in an ambush scenario. So this video is going to focus on heroes, the difference between a hero and a warrior model, so the 3 heroic stats, might, will, and fate, and the basic match play construction of a warband. Now, warbands aren't used in the beginner scenarios, but this is a useful way to go over it, and you can understand how army construction works and the different levels of hero that are in the rulebook. So I'll show you the table, show you the forces, and we'll get the second scenario underway. All right, so you can see here my progress for week 2 as I set up scenario number 2, ambush. Got my painting done on my Rangers. This coming week you'll be able to see a paint guide for these guys. They were done up at the same time as my 3 heroes, which we're going to introduce today. We've got Damrod, ready to lead some Rangers. He's a senior Ranger of the Rangers of Ithilian, and they're going to ambush these Morannon Orcs. Now, I finished 4 more Orcs, so I have the requisite Orcs for the scenario. It takes me to 16. Another Orc with a hand weapon, another with a hand weapon and shield, and then an Orc with a spear. And I also zhuzhed up all my my guys with shields by painting on some Eyes of Sauron. When you're doing sort of like drab, dirty Orcs, I mean, the Orcs in Lord of the Rings are like, they're not clean. Like, this is a pretty faithful representation of just how grimy and gross they are in the films. I decided that I wanted something that would pop, and a nice big red Eye of Sauron marks these guys out as Mordor's like personal troops. On the sidelines today, my men of Gondor that are already completed, and of course, Faramir painted up along with his friend Madril, a senior ranger and advisor. I did them all at the same time so that I could kind of like crank out all my Rangers in the same color scheme. You can see these guys on social media this past week, and of course their paint scheme is just a slightly enhanced version of the one the Rangers had, just a couple extra layers of highlights and stuff. All right, so with last week covering the basic turn sequence and core mechanics of the game, today we're going to take a look at warband building and matched play and heroes and how heroic stats change things up a little bit. So for this scenario, ambush, the forces of the Dark Lord have crossed the Anduin and are flooding into the ruined city of Osgiliath in great numbers. Pockets of resistance still hold out against the hordes of Mordor, as cohorts of men of Gondor stand shoulder to shoulder in the streets, and bands of Rangers launch volleys of arrows from the ruins before vanishing into the shadows. Despite their heroics, the forces of Gondor are vastly outnumbered, and Sauron's chokehold on Osgiliath is only getting tighter. So this scenario highlights just one example of the many skirmishes taking place across the ruined city as the battle for Osgiliath rages. The smaller number of models in the scenario allows you to play out the stage of this Ranger's ambush. So, my forces today, I've got 16 Morannon Orcs, so 5 with no additional equipment, 5 with spear, 3 with shield, and 3 with spear and shield. Now, this is not normally how you would build a warband. For the purpose of scenario, these guys are kind of like my dummies that I'm fighting against. And I'll be taking Damrod's personal warband to go fight. 3 things that differentiate heroes from normal model, and that's these 3 stats here: might, will, and fate. Now, those 3 things basically allow them to enhance their abilities and also access special actions. Now, Damrod's not a super huge hero. He's just kind of like a senior ranger, like almost like a squad leader. And so he has 1 point of each: 1 point of might, 1 point of will, and 1 point of fate. Might is kind of used to enhance your combat prowess and also to use specific heroic actions. We won't use those today. We'll use those in the next mission to show how they work. But it can also be used to enhance your fight roll. So if you're making a fight roll, as we saw in the previous mission, and we were, let's say, using his attack value. So Damrod has an attack value of, I believe, 2, because he's slightly better fighter than just like a normal sort of like plain Jane Ranger. He's right, where are you, Damrod? Right there. No, he's got 1 attack actually. Armor, sword, and bow. He has heroic accuracy, means he can shoot an extra time. So let's say he's fighting an orc. He's going to roll his dice. And the orc wins by a significant margin. Now, let's say the orc had rolled a 4 instead of a 6. He could spend his might point to alter his dice roll up by 1 and make that a 4. Now they would tie, and his higher fight of 4 would break the tie, and then he would get to strike blows against his enemy. So you can use might basically to alter dice rolls. Now he could also use it when he rolls to wound. So a strength of 4, defense of 6 on an orc normally. He'd need a 5-6. Let's say he'd rolled a 4. He could use that to turn it into a 5 and then cause extra damage as well. Things you can use might for: taking tests like jump, climb, or thrown rider. You can increase them. Dual rolls, shooting, so the in the way or the hit roll, rolling to wound, courage, Using Will, so you can use Might to modify the dice result when casting a magical power trying to resist. And using Fate, you can also use Might to succeed in a Fate roll, so to alter the other 2 heroic stats. Also use it to use a heroic action. He can Heroic Accuracy. So he has heroic shooting abilities. Heroic Accuracy allows him to shoot phase, enable a model to reroll failed in the way rolls when shooting in that shoot phase. A hero cannot perform a heroic accuracy if they're engaged in combat. A hero does not need to have a missile weapon to declare heroic accuracy. This does not allow a model to reroll successful in the way rolls when shooting at a target, or successful in the way rolls when determining if the mount or rider has been hit. If a hero performs a heroic accuracy, they can also shout "Take aim" to their comrades, allowing all friendly models within 6 to also reroll in the way when taking shooting tests. So basically it's going to allow Damrod to have all of his rangers inside a 6-inch bubble, also try and bypass that cover. So heroic accuracy is kind of an augment for him and his unit. And because he's only got 1 might point, he's only going to get to do it once per game. So you could use that to modify rolls, but usually what you're going to use it for a guy like Damrod is to allow his guys to get 1 really good turn of shooting into cover. Abilities, things like Heroic March at the double, Heroic Channeling for wizards, Loose for a Heroic Shoot. All these things can be done by expending might. Will is used in 2 ways typically, either to cast or resist a magical power. You can also use it like a might point to raise the dice roll on a courage test to try and not run away. So magical powers, usually you spend 1 might and then you get to roll a die and try and pass it. There's usually a testing number, try and cast a spell with. We'll cover that in a later video. And resist is, you have to try and like roll that to resist the power. It's typically done by rolling and trying to beat what the caster rolled. Cast a spell at Damrod and rolled a 5 to hit, a 5 or a 6 on a will roll if he spent his will point, would allow him to cancel that power. Fate, every time you take a wound, you can make a fate roll. A fate roll is a 4, 5, or 6, and like as said earlier, you can use might points even to increase that, so like try and modify your 3 to a 4, and you'll ignore the wound. So it's kind of like a save. There are no armor saves in this game, so no like trying to shrug off damage. Your defense is basically including your armor. So fate is a way that heroes can try and bypass taking damage and stay in the fight a little bit longer. Any way to track it, if you have some extra dice lying around, and I do, is to try and put down your 3 different colored dice, so might, will, and fate. I usually use red, white, and black, and so we have might, will, and fate. More than one, you would just set it to the value and then turn it down as you cast them, or use them basically during the game. Those 3 stats: fight good and use heroic actions, resist magic and cast magic, and then shrug off damage, are what make Damrod different from a Ranger of Gondor. He's just a sort of like minor hero, but it does mean that he has some slightly better offensive and defensive capabilities than a regular Ranger. Let's check those out. Now, we saw the Morannon Orcs from last game, right? Movement 6, fight value of 3, 5+ shooting, even though they don't have any guns. Very strong. Strength 4, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, and 2 courage. Heavy armor, sword, and mace. The shield makes them defense 6 and allows them to do the shooting ability, and the spear allows them to support if they want as well. So those are our bad guys for the game. Now, the Rangers themselves, not as tough, but better fighters. So move 6, fight 4+. They will win ties against these orcs. Shoot 3+, better rolling to hit than the Warriors of Minas Tirith. Strength 3, defense 4 though, not very heavy armored. 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 3. Armor, swords, and bows, and 1 has a spear. 4 of the 12 have a spear, so 1 and 3 have a spear. Damrod, basically the same ranger stats, but his defense is 5 and his strength is 4, so a little tougher and a little stronger. Courage 4 too, he's braver. His might, will, and fate, and heroic accuracy as his heroic ability. Let's talk now about matched play. Now, after we're done these scenarios, what you'll probably see me playing on this channel is a match play game. That's where 2 people play a game by agreeing upon a size of game to play, and then selecting models that are up to that game size in points. So a typical skirmish game is about 400 points. And in every skirmish or match play game, you're going to need to have a hero to lead a warband as your basic sort of like unit construction. So, for instance, my boy Damrod here, he is a minor hero. He costs 25 points, and he comes with all his gear: armor, sword, and a bow. Now, depending on the level of hero you are, that's how many guys can be in your warband. There's a couple of things that can be like dictate who your followers are. But the smallest level of like hero that can lead a warband is a minor hero. They can lead up to 6 followers in the warband. However, they can't be the army's leader. So even if I take Damrod, he's like a little squad sergeant, and he doesn't actually allow me to like be like the general of my army. Someone like a hero of fortitude, valor, or legend. Now, the other guys in this army, such as Madril, he is a hero of fortitude. That means he can lead up to 12 guys into battle, and he can be my army's leader. And then finally, we have Faramir. He's a hero of valor. He can lead 15 guys into battle as part of his army. Now, typically, you'll also pick from the same army list. In this case, all of these models are Warriors of Gondor, and as long as all of the warbands in your army are from Gondor or one of their allies, they get their army bonus, which is a buff. The model will usually get that bonus. So for Gondor, if I took all warbands from Gondor, they would get the bonus called, "You are men of Gondor. Whatever comes through that gates, you will stand your ground," which means they all get +1 courage. In late game, that can be really important as people start to flee. So, as a minor hero, I could build a warband up to 6 models. The only other restrictions in the game typically are that 1 in 3 models can have a bow. That means that if I was going to take my boy with a bow here, and he counts as a model with a bow, I would need to take his warband, 7 guys. I need 21 models total, right, to have this inside my bow limit. So if I took 7 here, I'd need to take another 14 models that didn't have bows in order to stay inside that bow limit. The idea here is that 1 in 3 models across your entire army can have bows, so it just doesn't turn into a shooting match. Shooting matches are kind of boring, and you're forced to actually do some fighting over the course of the game. If we were playing a 400-point game, 25 points to be spent on Damrod, and then his 6 followers would cost 8 points each. So that's going to be 48 points total, right? So 24 plus 24. And then let's say I wanted to give 2 of them spears. Those cost 1 point each. Take me to an even 50. So there's 75 points in that one little warband as part of my army. Now 7 models here have bows, which means, of course, I need 14 more models in the army that didn't have bows. Adril, as a hero of valor, or of fortitude, could take 12 models in his warband. So he could actually take this entire sort of contingent of Warriors of Minas Tirith and have that be his warband. He costs 55 points, and let's say he wanted to take a bunch of his Warriors of Minas Tirith, each one that's armed with nothing but like a hand weapon, I believe is 8 points as well. It's actually 8 points with their gear. So each of these guys would be 8 and 9 for the ones with spears because they have 2 upgrades. So you're looking at 1632 plus 32 is 64 points. And these guys are 9 each, so 36 makes you an even 100. Plus that 55 is 155, and you'd have a warband there. You need at least 1 model out of bow, though, because you've got 5 out of your 13 armed with bows here. Take that into account when you build the rest of your army. Bigger heroes, like Heroes of Valor, can have 15 followers in the warband, and the legendary heroes, the really big guys like Aragorn, Gandalf, they can have 18 followers in the warband, and they gain the Last Dance for special rule. So the first time a model with this special rule takes a courage test as a result of being broken, they pass automatically. So they are the big leader, does the big final showdown. All right, so let's jump into ambush. It's scenario number 2. Now, the evil forces are basically holed up in the middle of the table. They have to all be deployed within 6 of the center, and the good forces can deploy anywhere they want outside of 6 of the enemy, and they're trying to take down as many of these guys as they can. Objectives: the Rangers are trying to inflict maximum casualties on the Orcs and force them to retreat without suffering heavy losses themselves. The Orcs, on the other hand, are trying to slaughter the remaining soldiers of Gondor that are in the city before beginning the siege of Minas Tirith. The good player wins if at the end of the turn they've reduced the evil force to 25% or less of its starting number, so 4 models. The evil player wins at the end of a turn if they've reduced the good force to 25% or less, 3 models. If both players achieve the objective in the same turn, the game's a draw. Rules for ambush: after both sides are deployed before the first turn of the game, each good model can make a free shooting attack as if it was the shoot phase, but you can't use might. Anywhere we want not within 6 basically means we're taking the high ground here, Anakin. I mean, why not? Let's just go big or go home. All right, so we're deployed, and we get to do our ambush. So fast dice, we're gonna roll multiple shots at the same time like we practiced in the last game. I have 2 Rangers here. They're both gonna try and shoot that orc in the open with no armor. Aha, 3s to hit. I roll 2 2s. What are those dice? Back over here. Same target. Do they do better? There we go. We need that 6 again to do some damage. And we miss. Great start so far. The bows are the same as last game. 1, 2, 3, 4 Rangers over here. They're all going to shoot these 2. We'll do 2 at a time. So first 2 into him on 3s. 1 hit, and a 6 will do damage. Strength 2 against that defensive 5. Ah, we kill our first orc. Fantastic. Be the first bow of the game has done anything. 2 more shots into that one. Both hit. We need those 6s again to do some damage. And we get nothing. All right, continuing on. These 2 shooting that unshielded orc. Both hit on 3s. And then a 6 will take him out. Ah, we got him too. These 2 fellows over here will shoot, let's say that this spearman right here. 1 will hit, and then a 6 will take him out. No, it's just my boy Damrod. He gets a single shot on a 3+ as well. He'll shoot that lone orc with a spear. and hit with a 3, and then a 6+ will do some damage. Nothing. Use my might point to make that a 5, but it still wouldn't wound. It's priority for round 1. Let's see who's going first. We got 2 orc kills, better than we've done before. All right, the good player takes it. Now, we only re-roll ties in the first turn in match play. After that, we would have play go to the player who didn't go first last turn in the case of a tie. So with the humans going first, those are orc casualties over here. The good player gets to move. They're pretty happy where they are. They're not going to try and leave their perches, I don't think. So it's over to the evil player, and they're going to start moving. So once again, walking 6 with some orcs. I got to get over to the walls here to start climbing. So he's going to walk 6 with his front and behind. He's going to walk 6 with his front and behind. He'll just come in and support. These 2 will walk 6 over to the wall, and of course not quite have enough movement to climb this turn, so they'll just wait. These 2 will do much the same thing, getting ready to climb. These 2 will head over here to this wall. These 2 over to here. And he'll go with his friends. We get somebody. All right, well, let's start with some shooting now in the shoot phase. So we'll do 2 at a time again. So 2 at a time into that spearman down there. Hit on 3s with that 3+ shoot value. Both miss, danger close. These 2 are going to go into that guy. Both miss as well. Okay, Damrod, do better. Shoot that guy with a spear. You hit, and then on a 6, do you spend your might point? I think you do. In the way tests, we're not going to worry about. We're going to spend our might points. Our might's going to go to 0. Whoop, make that a 6, and kill this guy. The kills count for more here. By example, all right, this little guy right here, he's going to shoot, I guess, this guy with a spear, but there's some floor in the way. So it's on a 3. He'll miss. These 2 are going to actually all 3 of these are going to shoot into him in the open. Why not? On 3s. They all hit, and then it's 6s to do damage. He's defense 5 against strength 2. Nothing. These 2 guys are going to shoot that spearman in the open. Shoot the things you can see, both hit. And then on 6s, they'll do damage again. Nothing. These 2, now he can see through his friend because he's in base contact with him. We'll shoot that guy over there. They could shoot him though, and he could ignore his friend in line of sight, but we'll shoot the guy that they can both see in the open. 1 hits, and then on a 6, he'll do some damage. No. 5 models to go before they start making break tests for the orcs. All right, it's round 2. Let's see who wins priority. It's the good guys again. Oh my goodness. All right, 2 returns of priority in a row. Time to back up. These guys are going to climb at you. So you definitely, if they roll 6s, they'll climb all the way, but I think backing up to the wall is the best bet. These guys will do the same with this spear bro. Basically, back to the wall. It's not good because we'll be trapped if they move in, but we'll see how it goes. You guys don't have really anywhere to go, so you're just going to back up to here. They're kind of in a fight no matter what they do. All right, climb test. First guy. Oh no, he falls down. Knocked prone, but no damage because he wasn't climbing already. The next one. 6, he can come all the way to the top and fight because he can keep moving. This little guy rolls out 4 and gets to the top. Counts as a charge. But there's no room for his friend, so he's just going to wrap around to this side. Here, the swordsman is going to come to the top of the ramp. We'll go with the spearman. He'll do the same, just getting to base. And then his friend, he'll also climb to the top along here. They stay outside his zone of control. This little guy, he makes it to the top, but he can't come in zone of control. And for him, he's going to go 4, and he could come to the top, but he can't quite make it, I don't think, so you have to go over to here. He'd still be within 1. He'll have to stay at the bottom, actually. He won't fit. All right, over here. Do you get that 6? You do, so you get to charge the spearman. For the swordsman, he also gets the 6, so 2 up and 4 over. He'll charge him. The spear gets a 4, so he just comes to the top, and then the other spear gets a 4 as well. All right, shoot phase. There are some unengaged rangers who can take some shots. All these guys are unengaged, so these 2 are going to shoot into... Actually, all 4 are just going to shoot in... yeah, he's in base contact. So all 4 are going to shoot into this guy who is not wearing a shield. So hitting on 3s. And then wounding on a 6. You just plug him as he comes over. Yeah, they do. They're stuck in melee. And he's not. So he could actually take a shot in that spearman over there, which he will on a 3. He does. On a 6, he does some damage. No. It's Damrod up top. He's got 2 friends. And they will both shoot him. So on 3s, 1 hits and kills him. Damrod's going to plug that one orc with a spear. And miss. Revenge of the Orcs time. So a spear supporting his friend, give them 2 dice. So 1 attack and 1 attack. 1 attack from that orc spearman. So The Rangers are fight 4. They will break the ties here. Let's see who wins the fight. Oh, so it did come down to a tie. And because the good player has a fight of 4, you player has a fight of 3, they win. They'll push him back an inch. Strength 3 against toughness 5. So 5's to wound here. And they kill him. And 2 orcs away from victory. All right, so this orc is going to fight into these Rangers. So 1 red dice. He is not supporting because he doesn't have a spear. So it's just a 1-on-1. And the orc player wins. Okay, so now he cannot be driven back an inch. He is trapped. Which means he goes back slightly, and then he makes the difference. That means he doubles the strikes against him. So 5's to kill. Strength 4 against... Actually, strength 4 against 4's to kill, I think. Tied, it's even. 4 against 4. Kills him. That Ranger's dead. We have an orc into that spearman. So it's 1 dice against 1 dice. Oh, spearman wins. Knocks him off, and he falls. Ah! Take a strength 3 hit from being hit by him. Then he's going to take a strength 3 hit from falling and being prone. And he takes 1 more strength 3 hit because it's more than an inch over his height that he fell. So 3 strength 3 hits. Defense 6 though, so 6 is the damage. That's a potato. Okay. Final orc fighting that 1 spearman. So 1 dice against 1 dice. They tie. The spearman actually wins the fight because he is fight 4 against that orc's fight 3. So drives him back, and then a 6 to damage. Nothing. All right, end of turn. It's round 3. Big priority roll. The orcs are in the buildings now in a couple cases. So a tie, that means the person that went first last turn goes second this turn, and the orcs get to move first. That's a big old charge over here. They get up and then try and move his half rate. He climbs to 3, gets to there. And this guy's going to charge in, and then charge in. They're all just going to pick a friend to fight. He's going to try and climb, and he'll go around and does not make the charge. Stand up, try and charge back in. He does not, but he gets to the top. These guys can all pick a friend to fight. One more climb test for him. Oh, with a 6, he makes the charge and gets in to fight this ranger. All right, shooting a couple unengaged models. These 2 are going to shoot their bows into the orc that just came over the wall. 1 hits, and on a 6, he'll do some damage. He doesn't have a shield. He's only defense 5 against strength 2. Kills him. We're 1 orc away. Everybody over here is engaged. Up here we have Damrod, can take a shot into the unengaged orc below him and miss. Get to move these guys. I forgot. They're going to move into combat, which means they won't take any shots this turn. Shooting all done, it's time to fight. So over here, it's 2 orcs against a single ranger. Things are not looking good, and he's trapped. Oh my god, the ranger wins with a 6. So he's going to drive him back, and he's going to fall and be knocked prone. And this guy's just trapped, so the ranger pushes back instead. Against the tracked orc, he's going to try and strike blows against him, and we'll just see if the fall damage kills this guy. So doubling his damage, he gets to roll 2 dice, looking for a 6. Doesn't kill him. The guy who fell, though, takes 1 for falling and 1 for the extra inch, and dies. And that breaks the orc force. Over here, we have a ranger fighting an orc, so 1 dice against 1 dice. They tie, and he will lose the tie. Oh, and that's a 1-on-1 there. Whoops. And that means he gets a single strike against him on a 6. No. This is a 2-on-1 because there's a guy supporting. He'll choose to support this ranger. So he'll get an extra dice. 2 blues. They win with a 6. That'll push him back. And then it's 2 strikes on 6s. Nothing. I'll fight over here. 1-on-1. The orc does not win again. The good player wins and strikes a blow and also pushes this guy off the edge to knock him prone. 3 strength 3 hits in the end, looking for 6s. He lives. It'll be 3-on-1 over here with 2 rangers and a supporting spear. And they tie, but the rangers win the tie, push him back an inch, and that'll be 3 blows on 6s to try and kill him. They do. Final fight, it's a ranger against 1 orc. They tie again, and that goes to the ranger because of his fight of 4. So even these guys are super light, winning the ties is a big deal. They don't kill. They can win the fight, they almost always kill, but in this case, not happening. We're into round 4, and let's see who's going first. It's looking pretty good for the rangers in their ambush. Evil player goes first, and that means they have to make courage tests at the start of every move. Badass courage of 2, that's not great. So this guy, 8 to pass, he does. He makes the charge. Over here on an 8. Nope, he just takes off and goes home. This orc over here, he passes and charges in. And then this last orc also passes in charge, and they're very brave. He'll stand up and then just move to get ready to climb next turn. This is test. No, he didn't. He didn't even stand up. He just ran away. And then it's Orc over here. He also fails. Final Orc. He also fails. And in the end phase, we'll see how the fights go, but that takes the Orcs to 3 models remaining. And that means that unless they can do a massive amount of casualties here, the Gondorians are looking like they're going to win. It's a one-on-one fight. This Ranger precarious. They tie, though, and the Ranger drives him back. On a 6, he slays. He does! Oh, this is a hero Ranger. One-on-one again, no support because that guy doesn't have a spear. And the hero win, or the good guys win. And on a 6, they kill that guy too. Oh my god, they're just clean sweep. No survivors. And then over here, oh, and the reason I didn't shoot was because everyone was in melee, and that meant that there was no eligible targets for the good players. They're not allowed to shoot into melee. One-on-one and a supporting spear in this case. Go for the hat trick. They tie. The good player wins the ties because he's fight 4. And on a 6, they kill the final Orc. No, he goes to tell the tale. And at the end of the game, 1 Orc basically goes to war in Gothmog that the Rangers are retaking part of the city. So next week's scenario is the Hunter or the Hunted. Faramir and a small group of Rangers are going to go hunt a Mordor troll. And as the game sort of goes on, the almost vast majority of both forces arrive, including Cirion and Madril. Damrod and Madril, not Cirion. Cyrion's not in this box. He's Madril's best friend. The rest of the Rangers and the Warriors of Minas Tirith, and all 24 of the Morannon Orcs. So I need to paint 8 more Morannon Orcs and the Troll, which you'll be able to see on my social media next week, in order to do the 3rd scenario. And then for the 4th week, it's just Gothmog to get painted, and we're all done painting and playing through the box. So you have it, part 2 of how to play the Middle-earth strategy battle game. It was ambush as Damrod and his Rangers took down a whole horde of Morannon Orcs and struck back against Gothmog's invasion of Osgiliath. But things aren't going great, and of course Faramir is going to bite off more than he can chew, hunting trolls, which you'll see next Saturday. So big thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm Ash. Have a great day. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continue to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements, like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.